It's all so far away now, far, far away, my wonderful home. They're all turning into specks and disappearing into the scene. This is the memory of my last period of youth. This is I first heard of Azuma Kaya's The Scene of My Rumspringa from one of my friends in the pin collecting community. I could actually picture the way her eyes lit up when she talked about it. And generally, when someone seriously loves a work of fiction, I want to check it out myself, and so I did. Little did past me know then, this one book would completely rock my world, shatter my heart, and then piece it back together. Which brings us to today. Hello everyone! Today I'm here to tell you all about one of the most unique and memorable BL manga I've read, and why I think you should read it too. The Scene of My Rumspringa is such a beautiful and poignant look at the power love can have on a person, and the heavy cost of one's dreams, through the lens of two different young men. But first, what is Rumspringa? Rumspringa is a tradition or rite of passage in some Amish communities, where Amish youth have their usual restrictions lifted and can do things like leave their homes and explore, or drink alcohol, and just do things that wouldn't normally be allowed. Now, hold on a second, did I just mention the Amish? Yes I did. Before reading The Scene of My Rumspringa, I had never read a manga featuring an Amish character, let alone a BL about the Amish. So from the very beginning, this manga set itself up as something very different from what I was used to reading. But yes, one of the main characters, Theodore, or Theo, a sweet puppy in human form, is off on his Rumspringa, and in a town not far from New York, he meets Oswald, or Oz, who is a waiter and a sex worker. The two of them get off on a slightly awkward start after a hilarious miscommunication. And even though Oz finds Theo's greenness concerning at first, he just can't leave the guy alone. And this starts a very unlikely but meaningful relationship that quickly changes their lives in ways neither of them could have ever imagined. There are many things that make this story shine, but I think it's most appropriate to set the scene with our stars. I must admit, Theo and Oz embody some of my favorite relationship tropes. I love sunshine meets sunshine protector and opposites attract. I love puppy tops. Even by the fact that one of them is blonde and the other has black hair, these two complement each other perfectly. I loved learning about Oz's backstory. I loved hearing Theo explain Amish culture to him. Theo's blushing face and puppy dog energy are some of life's greatest treasures. Trust me. And Oz, he is so handsome and one of the most charming characters. The chemistry between these two men was astounding. Whether it was watching the two of them dance, or have sex, or just talk about their glittering dreams and aspirations, I loved every single moment. The story captured the feelings of youth so perfectly. The freedom, recklessness, passion, laughter, the many crossroads and failures, the hard choices. The atmosphere of this manga feels like the swan song of both summertime and youth. It felt like I was watching a coming-of-age movie. And honestly, I'm still so impressed by the profoundness Azuma managed to create in just one volume. Most other one-volume romance manga I've read just have not been able to create that same depth. If you haven't heard of the Amish, they are a Christian group based primarily in the United States, and they're largely known for their simple way of life, which includes things like avoiding electricity, plain clothing, and using horse-drawn buggies. Azuma actually does a really great job at seamlessly introducing and explaining Amish culture, both explicitly with dialogue and implicitly with how Theo's never used a zipper, for example. I am not an expert on the Amish, but another thing that I love about The Scene of My Rumspringa is that the author depicted the Amish very neutrally and respectfully. This manga is not arguing whether the Amish way of life or the quote-unquote English way of life is better. Theo got to learn a lot about the beauties of the outside world, but at the same time he never changed or condemned his religion and who he was. There was no right or wrong, or better or worse, and I like that a lot. One of the big themes in this manga is the American dream, and I love that the story shows us that culturally, for lack of a better word, we might be very different from one another. But maybe we're all just trying to survive in whatever ways we know best, and making whatever decisions we think are right based on what we know. And that's okay. Wow, I love this manga so much. Theo and Oz embody so much empathy for each other, for their pasts, and for their families. It is so moving. I love that they both took the time to really understand where the other came from, without any judgments. That's what love is. And did I mention that I love this manga? There are so many great themes and subjects explored here, and it really is a testament to how incredible of a writer Azuma is, that they can balance heavy topics like the American dream and family pressure and guilt, while still writing one of the sweetest romances ever. The topic of love in this manga, thinking about it makes me want to cry all over again. A common phrase throughout this story is that love is a beautiful curse. And that sounds almost like an oxymoron, but I love how the author explores what love means, and not just the romantic and devoted love between Theo and Oz, but the other forms of love that appear in our lives, and how love can greatly change the trajectory of our lives. Years and years of reading manga, and BL specifically, and the scene of my Rumspringa still left such a lasting impression on me. Truth be told, I haven't even scratched the surface of everything I want to talk about. There are other characters here that made me cry so much for them. I am going to keep singing Azuma's praises because they really did write something incredibly lovely. Reading this manga cleansed my soul a little, and not just because I cried. That ending scene, for example, will probably stay in my heart for a very long time. So I need more people to read this manga so I can talk about all of those other moments. I would love to see this manga available in print one day, and I think it would work really well in a live-action adaptation too. For now, it's available digitally through Joukei Manga, Bookwalker, Manga Plaza, and I think Inker as well. I think this manga is perfect to read at the end of summer, as a farewell to not just the season, but as a final love letter to youth itself. And that's why I want to recommend it to you now. The scene of my Rumspringa was one of the most heartwarming manga I've read. And in equal measures, it was also quite heartbreaking. But that bittersweet feeling is just a part of life and a part of growing up. Of course, we can make life-changing decisions at any age, like Oz did, but I like that Azuma set this story during Theo's Rumspringa, during his youth. At age 20, this is the prime time to be reckless and selfish without dwelling on failure. In knowing that, and in knowing the sacrifices we must make to pursue our own happiness, it actually takes a lot of courage to do what you want and to live with that decision. This manga ultimately left me wondering what my one selfish desire would be. And I hope after reading it yourself, you'll also think about your one true desire. And maybe you'll find the courage to act on it too.